वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव
कुंज बिहारी।
गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन।
यमुना तीर वनचारी।
यमुना तीर वनचारी।
यमुना तीर वनचारी।
यमुना तीर वनचारी।
जय राधामाधव कुंज बिहारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी।
गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन।
यमुना तीर वनचारी।
यमुना तीर वनचारी।
यमुना तीर वनचारी।
यमुना तीर वनचारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी।
गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन।
यमुना तीर वनचारी।
यमुना तीर वनचारी।
यमुना तीर वनचारी।
यमुना तीर वनचारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
जय राधा गोविंद श्री राधे।
जय राधा गोविंद श्री राधे।
जय निताय सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि जय। Nitai Satinandana Gaura Hari.
Jaya Nitai Satinandana Gaura Hari. Jaya Nitai Satinandana Gaura Hari.
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Jai Vishnupada Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Shrotra Shadashi Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय, श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, मथुरा धाम की जय, जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय, गंगा माई की जय, यमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, सामवेद भक्तवृंद की जय. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Paranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshikarine. Sarvam Shri Krishna Pranastu, Krishne Matrastu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So today we'll be reading from Srimad Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 6, the Dhyana Yoga, text 36 to 40. So text 36. Asam yatatmana yogo,
Asamyatatmana yogo,
dushprapa iti me matihi,
Dushprapa iti me matihi,
vashyatmanayu yatata,
Vashyatmanatu yatata,
shakyo vaptum upayatah.
Shakyo vaptum upayatah.
So the word by word is asamyata,
Asamyata,
unbridled,
unbridled,
atmana,
Atmana,
by the mind,
by the mind,
yoga,
Yoga,
self-realization,
self-realization,
dushprapa,
Dushprapa,
difficult to obtain,
difficult to obtain,
iti,
iti,
thus,
thus,
me,
me,
my,
my,
matihi,
mati,
opinion,
opinion,
vashya,
Vashya,
controlled,
control,
atmana,
Atmana,
by the mind,
by the mind,
to,
to,
but,
but,
yatata,
Yatata,
while endeavoring,
while endeavoring,
shakyaha,
Shakya,
practical,
practical,
avaptum,
Avaptum,
to achieve,
to achieve,
upayatah,
Upayata,
by appropriate means.
by appropriate means.
Translation is, for one whose mind
For one whose mind
is unbridled,
is unbridled,
self-realization is difficult work.
self-realization is difficult work.
But he whose mind is controlled
Whose mind is controlled
and who strives
and who strives
by appropriate means
by appropriate means
is assured of success.
is assured of success.
That is my opinion.
That is my opinion.
Okay, so here, maybe we'll just try in the previous verse just to get a correlation from our previous discussions. In the previous verse, Krishna has started answering. So this is like a question-answer session now. So Arjuna asked how to control the mind in the previous discussion that we did last week. And then Krishna in the previous verse said, Asamshayam mahabaho manodurnigraham chalam abhyasena to kaunteya vairagyena cha gruhyate. And so Krishna said that undoubtedly, Arjuna, mind is very difficult to control, but through practice and vairagya. Vairagya is renunciation. So what does renunciation mean? It means that the natural inclination for the conditioned living entity is to get entangled in the material objects. As we have discussed before, The eyes would like to see something nice, the ears would like to hear something good, the nose would like to smell something nice, tongue would like to taste something tasty, the touch would like to touch some nice soft things. It doesn't like hard or some prickly things, it won't like it. So all the senses are geared towards the sense objects. So in the conditioned state of existence, what happens is we are very much attached to the body-mind conglomerate. So the body, the mind, intelligence, false ego. So all these are it becomes very natural to think that I am this. That is a very natural conditioned state of existence, where this is what is called Dehatma Buddhi. Dehatma Buddhi means I am thinking that this Atma, that myself, is this Deha through my intelligence. So that is why Krishna talks about Buddhi Yoga. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti parvakam dadhami Buddhi Yogam tam. So basically, in the conditioned state of existence, our Buddhi is targeted towards Dehatma. The intelligence and mind is thinking about the body and different ways of sense gratificatory activities. But when we are focusing our mind on the Lord, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad-Gita, those who are constantly linking their mind with me, satata yuktanam bhajatam, rendering loving devotional service, priti purvakam, with lots of love. So basically devotional service is based on knowing that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the actual bhoktaram yajya tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram suhridam sarva bhutana gyatva mam shanti mruchati. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita the formula for real peace. What is the formula? He says there are three things that one has to know to attain formula for real peace. The first thing is bhoktaram yajya tapasam, that Krishna is actually the enjoyer of all the yajna and tapasa. Yajna is all the sacrifices that we do, and tapasa is all the austerities. So what does it mean? It means that if the activities are being done, yajnartha karmana, anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. So whatever activities we are doing, if we are doing it as an offering of love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then there is no reactions. We don't get any reactions to it, because the Lord is taking the reaction. The Lord, so basically that is the way of coming out of this cycle of birth and death. So the first thing to understand is, so that is why Krishna, if you look at this particular verse that we are discussing, verse 36, Krishna says here, asamyatat mana yogo. Asamyat atmana. So there are two words. One is asamyat, that means samyat. Samyat means one who has controlled oneself. Asamyat means one is not in control of oneself. So we see, so first of all, the important thing to understand is that our original existence is an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. But what happens is, immediately when we are born, so this is what is called, generally, they say that we are kind of born in ignorance. What is it? It means that born in ignorance means when I'm born, immediately, there is this thinking that I am this particular body. Even though when a person is born, they do not have an evolved intelligence, but when they start growing, that thought process develops, and then one just thinks that this is the only reality, that the body and the mind is the only reality. One never tries to understand what is consciousness. So basically, the dependency of body and mind is on consciousness. And we always give this example. What is the difference between a living body and a dead body? The body is existing. In a living state, the body is existing. Immediately after one dies, the body is still existing. So what is the difference? Consciousness. So when there is consciousness present, then the person is alive. When the consciousness is gone, the person is dead. So what does it mean? It means that consciousness is the real essence of our existence. There is all other things are dependent on consciousness. So that means there is a thing called swarat. Swarat is a word mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Janmadhyasya yatah anvayaditaratascha artheshu abhignat swarat. It is the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. The first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is saying that everything is emanating from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Janmadhyasya yatah anvayaditaratascha artheshu abhignya. He has to be known directly and indirectly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How do we know him directly? We know him directly when we understand that we are consciousness and we are part and parcel of the Supreme Consciousness. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the super consciousness, and we are part and parcel of that super consciousness. We are getting the fragment of consciousness from him. So that is what is Satchidananda. Krishna is called Satchidananda Vigraha. He is an embodiment of existence, knowledge, consciousness and bliss. And we as eternal part and parcel of the Lord are also the same. In our original existence, we are the same. This understanding, even though it is the most basic understanding that anyone can have, unfortunately, not everyone understands this. This understanding that originally I am consciousness and everything else is dependent on consciousness. It's a very basic thing. If someone uses a very minimum logic, they should be able to understand it. But unfortunately, this is what is called Shraddhavan Labhate Jnanam. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad-Gita that actually a person who has got a faith gets to know this knowledge, this transcendental knowledge. Tat parat samyate indriya. Krishna says that once we have this knowledge, we will be able to control our senses. Why? Because we will understand that our real happiness and real bliss is totally independent of all external stimulus that we get. So what is happening is, so the mind's real situation is within the self, within the consciousness. The mind, when it is situated within the consciousness, does not want anything, does not need anything. It is totally in a very blissful state of existence. But when we are in a state of waking state, and we have this, what is this called? So there is, Antahakarana. We were talking about Antahakarana, right? Mana, Buddhi, Ahankara and Chitta. There are Antahakarana. Karana means the senses, right? So basically the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, touch. These are all the senses, external senses. Bahir Karana. Antahakarana means internal senses. So internal senses, Man, Buddhi, Ahankara and Chitta. Those are the four things that are the internal. So Chitta is basically a storehouse, unlimited storehouse of all our experiences until now. And every moment we are experiencing something, it is getting stored in the Chitta. And that is what is samskara. Samskara is what we inherit in terms of our current body. So whatever particular body, whatever particular inclinations that we have got, that's because we have been doing those things over the past. So if you look at this particular life, if you look at our life from our birth to this particular time, we have been doing lots and lots of activities. And every activity that we have been doing has been giving us some kind of impulse. And those impulses are getting stored in Chitta. And this Chitta, that's why it's called Chitta Shuddhi. There is a term that is used, Chitta Shuddhi. What it means is purifying that Chitta. So how does the Chitta gets purified? When we are Shranvatam Swakatha Krishna. When we are hearing about Krishna, that is called Punya Shravana Kirtana. That itself is a very pious activity. The hearing and chanting of the Lord, names of the Lord. Hridi antastohi abhadrani vidhunoti. What it is said is, whatever abhadra, whatever inauspicious things are there within us, in the Chitta and the heart, vidhunoti, it gets cleansed. And then suhrit satam. So then, suhrit means we become the best friend of everyone. Because Lord is suhridam sarva bhutana. So I was talking about who gets the real peace. I did not complete it. Bhoktaram yadita pasam, that the Lord is the actual enjoyer of all the sacrifices and penances. Sarva loka maheshwaram, that the Lord is actually the proprietor of the whole universe, everything belongs to the Lord, Ishamasya Nidam Sarvam, and Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. The third thing is that the Lord is the best friend of all the living entities. Because the Lord is the best friend of all the living entities, and we are part and parcel of the Lord, our natural inclination will also be to be the best friend of everyone. So this is Suhrida, Suhrid Satam. So then this is what is, so when we are talking about Asamyata Atmana, so Krishna says here that when someone's mind is not under their control, it is very difficult to dushprapa. Yoga dushprapa. Yoga is what? Yoga means linking with the Lord. So if the mind is uncontrolled, then linking with the Lord is very difficult. Krishna is saying that. And then he says, in the next line, he says, Vashayatmana tu yatata. Shakyo vapya tu mupayatah. So Vashyatmana. So Krishna says that when the mind is under control, then it is possible to link with the Lord. So we can take a very simple example, right? If we are totally worried about some things, and the mind is constantly worrying about those things, then in that state we cannot link with the Lord. So the first thing that has to happen is the mind has to become peaceful, and this is a catch-22 situation that happens. So for the mind to be peaceful, we have to link the mind to the Lord. But because the mind is in a worried state, it cannot go and link with the Lord. So the concept here is that somehow or other try to link the mind to the Lord. Yena tena prakarena mana Krishna niveshe. Srila Prabhupada actually sometimes has given a very drastic example as well. Because when Krishna says Rasoham apsu paunteya, he says that I am the taste in water and any kind of liquid. And Srila Prabhupada, in one of his lectures or somewhere discussions, he actually gives a very drastic example. He says that if someone is a drunkard and the drunkard thinks that this drink, this alcohol is the Lord, there will come a time when they will actually leave the alcohol thing and they will become attached to the Lord. So that is the power of fixing the mind on the Lord through whatever means. The means is not the important thing. The important thing is if one can fix the mind on the Lord. And the basic concept here is because that is why the Lord does all these pastimes, all these wonderful pastimes of himself. This is what paritranaya sadhuna. That is the main thing why Krishna incarnates, to deliver the saintly people. Because the saintly people, they are naturally attracted to the Lord. When we are in a pure state of existence, we'll be naturally attracted to the Lord. But when we are in a conditioned state of existence, the attraction to the Lord, there is no taste, ruchi, it is called ruchi. When does one develop taste for something? When one engages in that activity and that activity makes one feel good. That is when one develops a taste, right? But in conditioned state of existence, what happens is bhoga ishwarya prasaktanam taya apahrita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhir samadho na vidiyate. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad-Gita that when in the conditioned state of existence, when we are totally attached to bhoga and aishwarya, bhoga is sense gratification, aishwarya is pomp and gaiety, kind of showing off kind of thing. So if one is attached to that, taya apahrita chetasam, their actual pure mind has been kidnapped by the material energy of the Lord. So vyavasayatmika buddhir samadho na vidiyate. Krishna says that in that state of existence, that vyavasayatmika buddhi, that is one pointed concentration on the Lord, does not happen. Samadho na vidiyate. So yato nischarati manas chanchalam astiram tatas tata niyamnetad atmanya vasham nait. So basically, there has to be some preparatory, like for example, if someone has to do a master's degree, if someone has to do a postgraduate degree, one first has to do a graduation, right? Without doing graduation, one cannot directly go to the postgraduate degree. Exactly the same thing, if one wants to focus the mind on the Lord, first of all, one has to have some kind of understanding of the Lord. So the understanding of the Lord is the first step. It is like a degree. When that understanding of the Lord happens, then one can start developing attachment to the Lord. That is like a post-graduation. And that is when the mind naturally. There is a very beautiful verse by Srila Rupa Goswami. He says that Smeram Bhangi Traya Parichitam Shachi Vishtirna Drishti. He says that there is this person who has got a beautiful smile and sidelong glances. Vamshi Nyasta Adhara Kishalayam Ujwalam Chandrakena. He has got a flute in his lips and he is standing in the moonlit night. Ujwalam Chandrakena. Govindakyam Haritanumiti Keshi Tirthopakanke. His name is Govinda. He is Hari. And he is in the Keshi Ghat. He is standing in the Keshi Ghat in the Tribhanga form. Ma Prekshishta. Rupa Goswami says that don't look at this person. Why he says Ma Prekshishta? Tava yadi sakhe bandhu sangais tiranga. If you are attached to your friends, family and everyone else, don't look at this person. Because what will happen is automatically one will know, but this does not mean that one loses, one ignores the material existence. It's not like that. So both can go simultaneously. So externally one can very nicely, and gopis are the greatest example of this. The gopis were just housewives and they had to take care of their family. They had to do all their work. They were doing it to the perfection, but at the same time their mind was focused on the Lord. So this is what is the total control that Krishna talks about. So the next verse, Arjuna now asks the question. Arjuna Vacha. Ayatihi Shraddhayopeto.
Ayatihi Shraddhayopeto.
Yoga Chalati Manasaha.
Yoga Chalati
Manasaha. Aprapya Yoga Samsiddhim.
Aprapya Yoga Samsiddhim.
Kam Gatim Krishna Gacchati.
Kam Gatim Krishna Gacchati.
So the word Arjuna Vacha. Arjuna said. Ayatihi. The unsuccessful transcendentalist.
The unsuccessful transcendentalist.
Shraddhaya. With faith. Upetaha. Engaged. Yogat. From the mystic link. Chalita. Deviated. Manasaha. Who has such a mind. Aprapya. Failing to attain. Yoga Samsiddhim. The highest perfection in mysticism. Kam. Which Gatim. Destination. Krishna. O Krishna. Gacchati. Achieves. Translation is Arjuna said, O Krishna. What is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism. So this is basically a very good question, and this question is related to what Krishna said in the previous verse, right? Krishna in the previous verse was saying that someone whose mind is not controlled, he cannot do the yoga properly, and someone whose mind is controlled will be able to do yoga properly. But in the material, Arjuna's question is very pertinent here, right? In the material world, people are trying to control, but the success is not guaranteed. Sometimes people can fall down. So this is what Arjuna asks. So he's asking that Ayati Shraddhayo Peto Yoga Chalati Manasa Aprapya Yoga Samsiddhim Kam Gatim Krishna Gacchati. So someone is trying with Shraddha, with faith, very nicely, and they have reached a particular stage in their progression of spiritual realization, self-realization, God realization. But somehow they fall down. They fall down in the sense that their progress gets impeded due to some reason. So Arjuna asked, what is the situation of such a person? So very pertinent question. So this is what the whole concept of us being in this material world is that it is like basically, if we take an example of again, we can take the example of a college, a person going to a college. Why the person is going to college? Because they want to get some knowledge. And when they get the knowledge, they have to implement that knowledge. Once they get that knowledge, they have to implement that knowledge in terms of their occupation. So exactly the same thing is in our existence. Whatever we are existing in this current material body. So since time immemorial, there is no. It is said that it is beginningless. The ignorance. It is because of ignorance that we are getting continuously this material bodies. Cycle of material bodies is because of ignorance. And even though ignorance is beginningless, once we are in a state of knowledge, ignorance can be destroyed. And the karma is also like that. The karma chakra, the fruitive activities. So fruitive activities is because of ignorance, I think that I am this body. So that means my body has to be kept nicely. And I have to enjoy as much as possible. In a conditioned state of existence, that means I will do all the pious activities so that I get back very nice pious credits in return. And with those pious credits, I can keep enjoying in this material world. But the defect of that thought process is that, unfortunately, there is Janma, Mrityu, Jara and Vyadhi. There is material birth in the material world. The birth in the material world means we are getting a body made up of matter. And when we are getting a body made up of matter, it is na sato vidyate bhava, na bhava vidyate sata. Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad-Gita that what exists always never changes. So our consciousness, for example, our consciousness is something that is constant. It will never change. Consciousness is, generally we can take the example of electricity. With electricity we can have refrigerator, and with electricity we can also cook food through a microwave or some other means. So it's the same electricity, but once it is giving a cold kind of provision, another time it is giving a hot provision. Exactly in the same way, the consciousness is pure. It is not associated with anything, but it is being used in different ways. So some people, if their nature is good, the consciousness that they have in the background is being used in a good way. If some people are bad, the consciousness is being used in a bad way, but it is not affecting the consciousness. The example that they give is that of the sun. The sun's light falls on very pure water, and it also falls on very filthy places, and it takes off all the water. But sun itself is not affected by it. Either purity or impurity, sun is not affected by it. Exactly in the same way is our consciousness. Our consciousness is totally independent, is totally not affected by anything, and that we are. That is what Tat Tvamasi. In the Veda Vakya, it is said that thou art that. So this is the thing that someone who is going in the spiritual journey, the first step in the spiritual journey is at least intellectually having the understanding that I am consciousness, at least intellectually. The second step would be when one practically, when there is meditation, when one is meditating on the Mahamantra and understanding, then practically one starts understanding that this is actual reality. So then when one continues the practice, there is a term used called yoga rudha. Arudha means one who has reached, climbed, like if there is a ladder and one is climbing the ladder. Arudha is one who has climbed at a higher position. Yoga Brashta. Yoga Brashta is someone who has climbed higher position but somehow he has fallen down. So the Yoga Rudha and Yoga Brashta. These are the two words used. So basically, what Arjuna is asking here is the question is that someone is going in the direction of Yoga Rudha, but someone suddenly, due to some reason, has become a Yoga Brashta. So what will happen to such a person? He has dedicated his energy in terms of knowing his eternal self, and maybe because of that, he might not do well in the material world. So the next verse, Arjuna actually says that, he kind of qualifies that in the next verse. So we'll read the next verse then. Kachinno bhaya vibhrashtash.
Kachinno bhaya vibhrashtash.
Chinnabram iva nashyati.
Chinnabram iva nashyati.
Apratishto mahabaho.
Apratishto mahabaho.
Vimudo brahmanapati.
Vimudo brahmanapati.
So here, the word by word we'll read. Kachit,
Kachit,
whether,
whether,
na,
not,
not, ubhaya, both, vibhrashtaha, deviated from, chinna, tone, abhram, cloud, iva, like, nashyati, perishes, apratishtaha, without any position, mahabaho, O mighty armed Krishna, vimodha, bewildered, brahmanaha, of transcendence, pati, on the path. Translation is, O mighty armed Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success, and perish like a riven cloud, with no position in any sphere. So basically, Arjuna now is qualifying what he said in the previous verse. So in the previous verse he was telling aprapti yoga samsiddhim kamratim Krishna gacchati. What happens when someone does not reach the perfection? Then he is qualifying here. He's asking, he's saying that so they have gone very far in the spiritual path, and when they are going very far in the spiritual path, maybe they have lost all the material touch. So now they are neither spiritually elevated nor materially proficient. So they are like a small part of cloud that has gone away from a vast cloud. They don't have any particular existence. So this is a very, very nice way Arjuna is describing the position of that person. There is one verse by Narada. Narada Muni says, Tyaktva swadharmam charanambujam hare bhajan apakpota patet tatoyati. Tyaktva swadharma means sometimes someone might get that inclination to be spiritual, so much spiritual that they might leave their material duties. We see some people, right? So they might be so much attached to rendering devotional service that they will leave everything. They will leave everything and just focus totally on the Lord. So Narada Muni is giving the example of those people. And he says that Tyaktva swadharmam, they have given up their occupational duty. Tyaktva swadharmam charanambujam hare. They have gone to the lotus feet of the Lord. Bhajan apakpota patet tatoyati. He says that their devotional service has not become mature yet, and because of that they have fallen down. Fallen down means they wanted to engage in pure devotional service, but they got attracted to the material energy again and fall down. So Narada Muni says, Tatra ko vabhadram abudha mushyakim. For that person, there is no inauspiciousness. And he says, Ko vartha apto abhajatam swadharmata. What is one going to gain if one does one's occupational duties very nicely, but they are not developing their attachment towards the Lord. And so there is another verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. It says that dharma swanushtita pumsam vishwakshena kathasuya notpadyat ratim yadi. It says that someone might be doing their occupational duties very nicely, but they are not developing their attachment to hear about Krishna. Rati. Shrama eva hi kevalam. The Srimad Bhagavatam says that unfortunately their state of existence is just a hard labor, nothing else. Because why? It is very clearly said, ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha samanyam etat pashubhir naranam. Like basically, see, what is happening is when we are in a material state of existence, the only thing that is becoming better is eating, sleeping, waiting and defending. That is the thing that is becoming better. So, for example, someone who is just doing some labor, daily labor person, they might be getting very small amount of money, because of which they will be maybe eating some things that might be available only with that money. Someone with billions of dollars is eating in a 5-star restaurant, but the activity of eating is remaining the same. This is what is scriptures is very very clear about this thing. Ahara nidra, sleeping. Someone very poor might be sleeping in a floor or something, keeping something on the floor and sleeping. Someone lots of money might have a huge wonderful bed, but the act of sleeping is the same. The act of bhaya is like the house, for example, keeping oneself secure. Again, it's the same thing. And maithuna is the act of reproduction. So all these things are common between the animal and the human being. So what is it that distinguishes? People might say that human beings have this evolved sense because of which we do art, sculpture. That's true. Those are all very 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 nice points as well. But the subtle thing that is really distinguishing animal from human being is dharma. Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho. The dharma is this involvement, it's very subtle. Dharma is very subtle. Why it is subtle? Because it is understanding our original nature. That is what is dharma. Who am I? So if somehow or other I can know that I am actually the consciousness and everything else is external. Krishna gives an example, Vasamsi Jivnani Yatha Vihaya. Krishna says that just like we take off the old cloth and put on a new cloth, similarly, we as the living entities, eternal living entities, take on a new body, give off the old body and take on a new body. So this understanding is extremely important. This can happen only in the human form of life, no other form of life. Even the forms like, they talk about the heavenly enjoyment, planetary enjoyment. The heavenly planetary enjoyment, lots and lots of enjoyment is there. But this understanding of our eternal nature cannot happen there. And that's why it's called Durlabham Manusham Janma. It is Sudurlabham. Nrideham Adhyam Sulabham Sudurlabham. This human form of life is Sulabham. Sulabham in the sense that at the moment we have it. So that's why it is Sulabham. Because we have it, it is a very easy thing that we have it. And that's why we don't realize its value, unfortunately. This is an unfortunate thing. Because, there are 8 billion people out there in the whole world. And human form is just a form. What's great in that? When we look into the scriptures, we understand it is very rare. It is extremely rare. And that's why every moment is really important because it's a very rare form of life that we are getting. And every moment, if somehow or other can be focused on understanding our original nature and being established in our original nature, then that is the goal of human form of life. So now, so here I kind of digressed from what Arjuna was saying here. Arjuna was giving the example of the person who tries to go in, basically the person has started going in the direction of spirituality, but they have not concluded their journey. They have kind of fallen down in that journey. So Arjuna asks, so what is the position of such a person? So now 39. Okay, so 39. Etanme samshayam Krishna,
Etanme samshayam Krishna,
chetum arhasi asheshatah,
chetum arhasi asheshatah,
twadanya samshayasyasya,
twadanya samshayasyasya,
cheta nahi upapadyate,
cheta nahi upapadyate.
So the word by word etat,
Etat.
this is
This is
me,
my,
my, samshayam,
samshayam,
doubt,
doubt,
Krishna,
O
Krishna,
Krishna,
chetum,
chetum,
to dispel, arhasi, you are requested, asheshatah, completely, tvat, then you, anyaha, other, samshayasya, of the doubt, asya, this, cheta, remover, na, never, he, certainly, upapadyate, is to be found. So translation here is, this is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. So that is a very important point here. Twadanya samshayasyasya chetanahi upapadyate. So now we should try and understand why Arjuna says that. Why Arjuna says that no one else is to be found who can destroy this doubt. So here we have to understand what is the difference between the conditioned living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So the conditioned living entities, they have got 4 frailties, it is mentioned in the scriptures: Brahma, Pramada, Vipralipsa, Karana, Patva. So Brahma is, we have tendency to commit mistakes. So in the conditioned state of existence, because we are in a conditioned state of existence, we commit mistakes. Pramada means we are under illusion. We come under illusion. What does it mean, coming under illusion? That means when is it that we are established in ourself, knowing that I am the consciousness? Very rare. Some majority, unfortunately, do not even. If someone is talking about it, they have no concept of it. Unfortunately, that is the situation. So that is illusion, pramada. Vipralipsa is cheating propensity. So in a conditioned state of existence, there is a propensity to cheat others. And then karana patva is the senses are imperfect. So these are the 4 frailties of existence in this conditioned state of existence in the material body. The Lord is above these 4 frailties. So this is what called Achyuta. Achyuta means one who never falls down. Achyutam Anantarupam, Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam cha. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam. It is mentioned in Brahma Samhita. What is the Lord? The Lord is Advaita. The Advaita means in our current material existence, we have got a spiritual core and a material body. So Dvaita, we are in Dvaita world. Our original existence is purely spiritual, but externally there is a lot of matter. The matter which is gross, Sthula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira. The gross body and then the subtle body, the mind, intelligence, false ego. So in our case, we are in a Dvaita situation, duality. But the Lord is Advaita. There is no difference between his personality and he himself. He is totally purely spiritual. That is what is Lord. So he is Advaita, Achyuta, he never falls down. Anadi, he has got no beginning. We also have no beginning. But in our case, unfortunately, we have got a beginningless ignorance as well. The Lord does not have any ignorance. He is totally always in a state of pure knowledge. So Anadim Ananta Rupam, he has got unlimited forms. Adyam, he's the first person. Purana Purusham, he's the oldest. But at the same time, he's Nava Yavanam. Even though he's the oldest, but he's always in a youthful form. That is a lot. Nava Yavanam cha Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakta. It is mentioned in the Brahma Samhita verse that to know the Lord through Vedas is very difficult. Because Vedas has got this Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Upasana Kanda. You know, it's all related to. So Karma Kanda is related to how I can make this life better and the afterlife better. You know, go to heavenly planets. Jnana Kanda is basically related to this oneness. You know, this one knowing that there is only Brahman, nothing else. So then there is no bhakti. Upasana Kanda has got lots of things related to worshipping Agni, Chandra, Vayu, you know, all these different aspects of the controllers of the different, different aspects of our existence. So that is Upasana Kanda. So all these different Kandas are there. So through Vedas, it is very difficult to know the Lord. But actually, through the Vedas, Lord has to be known. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad-Gita, Vedaishya sarver ahameva vedyo. Among everything in Vedas, I am to be known. That is what Krishna says. But somehow or other, if one's inclination is not to know the Lord, one will never know the Lord. So this is, so Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakta. It is said that a person who is totally in love with the Lord, they know the Lord clearly. So, and that is a simplicity. You know, if one is very, this is again coming back to gopis. The gopis were very simple ladies, no complexity in them. So they were naturally attracted to Krishna. So that is the thing. So in this particular verse, So here, so what we are trying to understand here is why it is only Krishna who can destroy this doubt, because he is not under the influence of those four things, mistakes, doing mistakes, being under illusion, cheating propensity, and the senses are imperfect. These things are not present in the Lord, so he can always dispel the doubts. Now text 40, this is the last verse we'll be discussing. So basically Arjuna was saying the last 3 verses. Now Krishna responds in text 40. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Parthanaiveha namutra Vinashastasya vidyate Nahi kalyana krit kaschit Durgatim tata gacchati. So word by word, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said,
Partha, O son of Pritha, Na eva, never is it so.
Never is it so.
Iha, in this material world. Na, never. Amutra, in the next life. Vinashaha, destruction. Tasya, his. Vidyate, exists. Na, never. He, certainly. Kalyana Krit, one who is engaged in auspicious activities. Kaschit, anyone. Durgatim, to degradation. Tata, my friend. Gacchati, goes. Translation is, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pritha, a transcendentalist, engaged in auspicious activities, does not meet with destruction, either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. So, this is interesting, right? So, Partha Naivetra Namutra Vinashas Tasya Vidyate. So basically, this is the thing. it's quite interesting. Um, if we look at, so basically Arjuna's question was, someone has gone in the direction of spirituality, and maybe someone has taken a drastic step of giving up everything material and gone there and then fallen down. So what is the situation? He's like a cloud which is separated from a vast cloud, and he's got nowhere to go, kind of thing. So here Krishna very wonderfully kind of confirms that. He says that no, there's no someone who has done kalyana krit. Kalyana is auspicious activity. Durgatim tata gacchati. Durgati is bad destination. So someone who has done auspicious things, they can never go into bad destination. Durgatim tata gacchati. So this is basically, so as we were discussing about chitta, right, the continuous impressions that is happening. So when someone has got that inclination to purely become spiritual and give up material activities, that is because their chitta already had, those imprints, because of which they had that pure attraction. But then in this material world, what happens is, because the material nature is very strong, Krishna mentions, Devi Hesha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratyaya. Krishna says Mama Maya. It is my energy. So the Lord's energy is as powerful as the Lord. So that's why the living entities, get enamored by the material energy of the Lord, because it is as powerful as the Lord. But when one recognizes bhakti yogena manasi samyak pranahite amale apashyatam purusham purnam mayam chatat apashrayam. It is mentioned about Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva, when he was meditating on the Lord with bhakti yogena manasi, his mind was totally saturated with bhakti, for the love for the Lord, and samyak pranahite amale. He was totally focused on the Lord, and he was totally in a pure state of existence. Amala means without any impurity. Mala is dirt. Amala is totally pure. In a pure state of existence, he was totally focused on Krishna, Vedavyasa. Then what did he see? Bhakti Yogena Manise Samyak Pranide Amale Apashyatam Purusham Purnam. He saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, Purusham Purnam. Mayam Chatat Apashrayam. And he also saw that Maya was under his protection. Daivi Hesha Gurmai Mama Maya Duratyaya Mameva Ye Prapadyante Mayam Etam Tarantite. Krishna says that my material energy is very difficult to overcome, but someone who surrenders onto me, I help that person to cross over this material energy of mine. So that is what is tyaktva. So somehow, somewhere or the other, if one has got that man mana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru, Krishna mentions in Bhagavad-Gita, he says that give your mind to me. What does it mean? Give your mind means, when we are discussing Bhagavad-Gita, when we are reflecting on Bhagavad-Gita, that is another thing which is really important. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. These are the three things that is mentioned. Shravana is hearing about the Lord, absorbing information about the Lord. Manana is reflecting on what we have heard. And Nididhyasana is contemplating, going deeply into that aspect and going in depth, trying to know the Lord. So when the mind is in these three states, Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasana, then it is like surrendering onto the Lord. And that focus, if that focus is constantly kept, then the Lord is directly protecting. Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadahami buddhiyogam tam yena mamupayatite. Tesham evanu kampartam aham jnana jam tama nashyami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhasvata. Krishna says that I give them special mercy, who are trying to constantly remember me. Tesham satatayuktanam, tesham evanu kampartam aham. And when that special mercy is given, that darkness of knowledge gets dispelled by the lamp of darkness of ignorance. gets dispelled by the lamp of knowledge, that aham agyanaja nashyami atma bhavastu. That lamp of knowledge is that understanding that I am an eternal part and parcel of God. Jnana dipena bhasvata. So this is what, when we are discussing Bhagavad-Gita, this is what we are going into a state which is timeless. It is beyond the purview of time and space. That is what Bhagavad-Gita is. It is not when does time and space come into picture? When we get this material body, then there is date of birth, and because of date of birth, there is a time. So basing on the date of birth, I am this many years old, and then at a certain point of time I will die. So that is gone. But the imprints are remaining in the chitta, and the imprints are what like somehow or other we have got this inclination to try and engage in discussing Bhagavad-Gita and learning Bhagavad-Gita, and this is what Krishna is saying, nahi kalyana krit kasyat durgatim tat gacchati. So this is kalyana krit. This engagement in going into the depths of Bhagavad-Gita is what is the most auspicious activity that we are doing. So when we are doing this, Durgati can never happen. That's what Krishna is saying. There is no way. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya prati janihi name bhakta pranashyati. So he api chet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak. We'll just end with this particular verse. Krishna, this is a very controversial verse actually. There is a verse in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says that api chet suduracharo. Someone externally might be doing very bad activities, but bhajate mam ananya bhak. But internally, they are totally unalloyed devotional service is happening. Krishna says, sadhu eva sa mantavya. I consider that person as a sadhu. Krishna says that. So it's very difficult to, from a material perspective, it might be very difficult to understand this. But from a spiritual perspective, the understanding here is that because, we are a combination of internal and external energy of the Lord, the consciousness and the external body, there is always this chance that a person can fall down. But that does not mean that he will remain fallen down forever. Like even if you take the example of Valmiki, he was Ratnakar, he was considered, he was a robber. He used to torment people, in a very strange way. And then Narad Muni came, and he used to steal people, rob people, and then he used to give it to his family. And then Narad Muni asked that you go and ask your family whether whatever all these sinful activities you are doing, will they bear the results of your sinful activity? And he asked them, and they say that how can we bear the activities? You have to bear your own sinful activity. So basically, he has been doing all this for his family, but he was attached to his family that way. Then he understands. Then Narad Muni actually asks him to say Rama, but he's saying Mara, Mara, Mara. So, but when he says Mara, 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 it becomes Ram, Ram, Ram continuously. So, and then he becomes absorbed in the Rama mantra, and then it is said that the anthill forms over his body. He's so much totally he's totally absorbed in Rama mantra that he forgets everything else. And then he, writes Ramayana. So what was his, if you look at his past, he was a very big sinner, but then he became Valmiki, right? So this ups and downs is bound to happen in the spiritual journey. It is said, Kshurasya Dhara. It is said that it is like walking on a razor's edge. That is what is spiritual journey. Durgama patitastat kavayo vadanti. It is said that this patha, this route that one is taking is very durgama. It is difficult, but the gain out of it is something that is invaluable. Like, for example, if someone does lots and lots of, they are talking about people working for 80 hours a week, 90 hours a week kind of thing, right? What is the end goal of working for so many hours? They want to attain something. So exactly this is the situation of a spiritualist. They have a goal which is unlimited. The bliss, that is our original nature. So the spiritualist is trying to go inside and get established in that original nature. So how much more work will be needed? Like it is like every moment one is constantly linked with the Lord. That is, and that linking, initially it might feel as if it is unnatural, because of the covering that we have. But the more we practice it, the more it becomes natural, and then there will come a state when this will be the most natural thing, and that is our original existence actually. But somehow or other, we have been in this position since time immemorial, and because of that, it is very difficult to know what is on the other side, because we are constantly always in this conditioned world. So this looks very normal to us. But actual normalcy is being established in our own self and looking at the world from that perspective. Then we are in a correct place. So with that, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
If there is any comments or questions, we can discuss.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a good session. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So we will Srimad Bhagavad-Gita ki jai,
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Shivoha.
Sing the Narasimha. Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Praladaladaine.
Praladaladaine.
Hiranyakashipurvakshaha.
Hiranyakashipurvakshaha.
Shilakanthanathalaye.
Shilatankanakalaye.
Ito Nasimho Parato Nasimho.
Ito Nasimho Parato Nasimho.
Yato Yato Yami Tato Nasimho.
Yato Yato Yami Tato Nasimho.
Bahir Nasimho Hriday Nasimho.
Bahir Nasimho Hriday Nasimho.
Narasimhamadim Sharanam Prapade.
Narasimhamadim Sharanam Prapade.
Tavakara Kamalavare Natam Adbhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Ganda Keshavadhrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagdish Hare Jai Jagdish Hare Jai Jagdish Hare
Tava kar kamalavare natham adbhuta shringa dalita hiranyakashipu tanu bringa keshavadhrita narahari rupa jai jagdish hare jai jagdish hare jai jagdish hare.
Jaya Narasimha Dev Jaya Narasimha Dev Jaya Narasimha Dev Jaya Narasimha Dev
Jaya Narasimha Dev Jaya Narasimha Dev
महाराज की जय। नमो विष्णु पदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशकारिणे सर्वं श्री कृष्णार्पणमस्तु कृष्णे मधुरस्तु हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण।